Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mouse Club podcast. My name is Marissa, and I am the host of this podcast. Welcome if you're here for the first time, and if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Today, we're going to continue in the theme of Mental Health Awareness Month for our last podcast recording of May. So in this week's episode, we are going to be talking all about the best Disney movies to calm the mind. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this since a lot of us are stuck in quarantine right now. My actually most popular podcast episode so far is the one where I did the best Disney movies, podcasts, and YouTube channels or something like that. I did it. You can look if you want to check that out. So I feel like you guys will like this. This is going to be more so movies that calm the mind, how to stay focused and have some clarity in your mind, I guess is the best way. And I think that you guys will really like it, especially if you're stressed right now and just looking for something to calm you down or help you fall asleep at night. These are the movies for you. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. Just so you all know, if you would like to leave me a review, I'm going to be reading those every week and giving you a shout out. So if you'd like to give me a review on the Apple Podcast app, please do so. It really would help me out. And be sure to leave your Instagram or YouTube handle if you would like a shout out. And of course, if you would like to participate in future episodes of the Mouse Club, please check us out on Instagram at the Mouse Club Podcast. This is where I post a bunch of polls. I ask for episode ideas. I'm going to be asking you guys for your stories and your memories and things like that. So do check us out and follow us on there. It's going to be the best way to participate in future episodes, and I could really use your input in knowing what you guys would like to see. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into our Disney news for the week. We don't have too much to talk about this week. Nothing too exciting has been happening. I would say probably the biggest announcement of the week is that Universal has announced that they will be opening Universal Orlando to limited capacity on June 5th. And according to their website, everyone, team members and guests, are going to be required to wear face masks during the entire visit. So hopefully people comply with that. I'm not sure what the stipulations are going to be, like if you're going to be asked to leave if you take it off or what the rules are, but it is required to wear a face mask throughout your visit. Temperature checks on arrival. Anybody who has a temperature of 100.4 or above will not be admitted, and I'm sure that team members will be checked as well. That's actually something First off, I want to say that I loved working for Universal. They are such an amazing company, but something that really stood out to me when I worked there was the fact that all team members and all guests had to do a metal detector test or check, I guess is the right word. And to me, that just made me feel so much more secure in my job working at Universal rather than at Disney. I really hope Disney does metal detectors for everyone soon. I feel like they've been testing them for forever, just because it's so much more safe and you have no idea what could happen in the theme park. So I really appreciate that. So I'm assuming that Universal will be checking their team members in the same manner, and also they will probably have temperature checks around the bag check area is what I'm assuming will happen. They've also said that they are going to be doing social distancing measures, most likely in queues. And it says that they are asking people to wash their hands. I don't know exactly what that means, like if they're going to have different hand sanitizer or hand washing stations, but they did say that on their website. So that is definitely a good thing to keep your hands washed, whether it's during COVID season or not. There are so many diseases and sicknesses you can get in the parks, so definitely keep your hands washed. The next thing is Disney World has been releasing some more recipes this week. I talked about that a few episodes ago where they released their beignet recipe and I forget what else. I think they released the gray stuff. They've released a bunch of recipes, but this week they released the kitchen sink recipe from Beaches and Cream Soda Shop. So if you want to check that out, it's on the Walt Disney World Facebook page. I believe it's also on the Disney Parks website as well if you'd like to try to recreate it. They also released a recipe for tachos from Woody's Lunchbox. So if you would like to check those out as well, same thing, it's going to be on the Walt Disney World Facebook page or on the Disney Parks blog. They are basically like tater tots that are covered in like chili and cheese. So sounds really good for sure. They also released a downloadable grad pack, and I believe I found that as well on the Walt Disney World page, so if you want to check that out. So if you have a graduate right now, it's a bunch of downloadable decorations and things like that, which is really cute since we're having a lot of graduation parties at home right now. And then, of course, the last thing that I have to say is that Disney Springs officially reopened on May 20th. I talked all about the procedures and stuff in the last episode if you would like to check that out. But so far from what I'm seeing, the feedback has been pretty positive. It doesn't seem like anybody's having a really rough time with it. I have had a few friends go to Blaze Pizza, which if you've not been to Blaze Pizza is absolutely amazing. I think it's called something with art in the title. It's like ricotta cheese, Parmesan, fresh garlic. Oh my gosh, it is so good. But yeah, they went to Blaze and they seem to really enjoy being there and seem to feel safe. So that's really good. I will definitely keep you updated as things progress and to see how people are responding to it. But I haven't heard any bad feedback from City Walk or from Disney Springs yet, and they are now both open. So that is really good news for sure. All right, friends, so getting into our episode of the best Disney movies to calm the mind. I really hope that you guys like this episode. Again, this is dedicated to Mental Health Awareness Month, which is through the month of May. You can check out our last episode all about the Winnie the Pooh characters and the mental illnesses that people believe that they have. If you would like to check that out, and I'm sure it's anywhere that you're probably listening to this episode, you can probably find it there as well. But I have a bunch of movies that I really personally enjoy when I'm having a really bad mental health day. So I hope that you like the ones that I picked. And if you have any that you'd like to share, go ahead and tell us on our latest Instagram post at the Mouse Club Podcast. And anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first one, of course, probably the most calming Disney movie of all time is Fantasia. If you have not seen Fantasia, it's a classic. It's from the 40s, I believe. And it's basically a bunch of classic music pieces. And they are set to different animated pieces. A ton of popular animated pieces have come from this movie, like The Sorcerer Mickey, the hippo and the alligator who dance together. There's so many very, very popular moments. Chernabog is in this one. So if you've not seen it, it's super, super good. I personally love this one on nights when I cannot fall asleep because it is just so calming and so relaxing that it will instantly put you to sleep. I tried watching it like just normally a few years ago and I could not stay awake just because the music, it's all like classical music. So it's all very relaxing and meditative, I feel like. And of course, we can't talk about Fantasia without talking about Fantasia 2000, basically along the same guidelines, I guess is the way to put it. It's also a bunch of music pieces set to animated pieces, and it's very, very calming as well. Definitely not as classic as the regular Fantasia, but it is nice to have a second option. So that is really, really cool. I remember when the Great Movie Ride was open, they used to say that when Fantasia came out, Walt Disney promised that he was going to do more pieces, and I believe it was his nephew who fulfilled that promise to do more pieces for Fantasia 2000. So that's really cool that he was able to keep that promise alive. So that's really, really cool. My number 3 movie that calms the mind is The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan specifically. I haven't seen the original one in years and years and years, so I can't give an accurate description of that one. But as far as The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan goes, I absolutely love this movie. I could watch it again and again and again. First off, Dennis Quaid is just so handsome in this movie. He's just such a handsome guy. I cannot even. And it's so funny, it's so cute. And I think that the reason that it calms my mind so much is because of the fact that everything works out the way that it should, or at least that's how I feel. This is a little spoiler alert, but the moment when Dennis Quaid, I don't even remember his name in the movie, but when the dad's girlfriend says, it's either me or them, who are you going to pick? And he says, them. THEM, them. That moment gives me so much joy. It makes me feel so good. So I love this movie. I cannot recommend it enough. It is such a good, wholesome movie. And if you don't know what it's basically about these twins who were separated at birth when their parents split up. So one goes to live with their dad and one goes to live with their mom. And when they're at a summer camp, I believe when they're 11 years old, they get sent to the same summer camp and they find out that they're twins, and it's all about them trying to get their parents back together. And it is just such a good movie. Lindsay Lohan is so good in this movie. I think it was her first one, or first major one, I should say. So that is super, super, super cool. And I really like this movie. How many times have I said super in this episode so far? The next one I have is Winnie the Pooh, of course. I talked about it in my last episode, where I talked about the different characters and how they supposedly represent different forms of mental illness. But what I actually discovered from another research paper was that they actually seem to represent different areas of post-traumatic stress disorder, which the author A.A. Milne may have subconsciously been putting into the characters without knowing, because he suffered from PTSD from World War I. So I'm not really putting that in here because of that, but I think it is truly a really calming movie. It's just really sweet. It's really wholesome. I think all the Winnie the Pooh movies are super sweet and super wholesome. There's so many, honestly, and there's TV shows as well, but they're just so sweet, and I love how they work together. And if you are looking for something to kind of show you that you're not alone, I feel like that's a good one as well, because you can see the different struggles that the different characters are going through, so you might resonate with that a little bit more. And personally for me, I just think that it's really, really gentle in nature, I guess is the right way to say it. And I just really enjoy watching the movie. So definitely Winnie the Pooh is on my list. The next one I have is one of the live action classics, which is Swiss Family Robinson. I read this book a few years ago and it was really, really, really good. It's definitely a old school book, I should say. It's not exactly politically correct. I don't agree with everything that the author says in the book. He makes a few racist comments. However, the movie is a little bit different, and if you don't know what it's about, it is basically about a shipwrecked family, and they have to basically create a life for themselves on this new island, and it's very, very good. What I really find interesting about the book is it was created in this time where, there were a ton of adventure stories and exoticism was this huge thing, but people didn't really understand what was happening. So he talks about so many things that really should not be able to exist on an island at the same time. Like penguins and flamingos are together walking along the beach and all this other stuff. So it's really interesting to me as far as the book is concerned. But as far as the movie is concerned, it's just one of those movies from the 50s and 60s. I don't remember the exact year it came out, but if you get what I'm trying to say, one of those classic movies that's kind of innocent, kind of pure, and just kind of happy and fun. I haven't seen it in ages, so I'm sure that there's probably some dark moments in it. I don't remember 100% sure, so just take it with a grain of salt. But it is a really cute movie. It's very sweet, and I really enjoy watching it. So that's another one I recommend. The next one I also recommended in my last episode about Disney movies I recommended for quarantine, which is Mary Poppins. I just read Julie Andrews' book Homework, which is a memoir of her Hollywood years, and I read all about the behind the scenes of Mary Poppins. And then, of course, with Prop Culture on Disney Plus, which if you have not seen, it's amazing. But Prop Culture, the first episode is Mary Poppins, so I learned more behind the scenes. And then just watching the movie, that movie gives me so much joy, honestly. It's just so innocent, so pure, and there's so many happy moments of it, especially jumping from the cartoon to the live action. It's just so good. I really, really enjoy it. And just realizing how much work went into it because they did not have special effects back in that day is just really cool to think about as well. So I definitely recommend Mary Poppins. And of course, you can't feel bad when you're listening to Julie Andrews singing, let's be honest. The next one I have on my list is the Disney classics. So I have written down like Cinderella, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, The Aristocats, Snow White. Of course, some of these have some really dark moments like Snow White, specifically Peter Pan. But even with these dark moments, I think that they're just really beautiful movies. And I think the reason that I feel so calm when I watch them is because of the fact that they just have like such beautiful classic music. Like immediately what comes to my head is Peter Pan and Cinderella. Like Cinderella at the beginning when they're like, Cinderella, she's as lovely as her name. That part is so pretty. And with Peter Pan, like Second Star to the Right and You Can Fly, those are just such beautiful songs. I feel like they're so calming and the animation is just beautiful. So that's why I wanted to include it on my list. Next up, number 8 is Disney nature films. And if you have not seen Disney nature films, they are so relaxing. The Disney nature logo at the very beginning of the movies makes me think of Animal Kingdom, which also makes me happy because it's I feel like that's a really chill park as well, just to be able to look at the animals and stuff. But the Disney nature films are so beautiful. My favorites so far have been Elephant and Dolphin. I want to say it's called Dolphin Cove. They've been super good. And then they also have like behind the scenes of how they actually make the movies, which I actually really enjoyed as well because I talked about it in another podcast episode, but just like the links they have to go to like learn about these animals and to follow them and to record them is really, really incredible. So I really, really enjoyed those, and I feel like they're really relaxing and they're educational as well. So I feel like it can help you get a little bit sleepy if you're having like insomnia or having just a really rough night. So I really recommend Disney nature films. Okay, next one is a little bit of a cheating because it's not really a movie and it's only on Disney Plus. It's called Zenimation. And if you have not seen it yet, there's like a meme circulating that it's called ASMR but Disney, and that's literally what it is. It's just a bunch of different sounds, but I really like it because there are a bunch of different sounds from Disney movies. So like the first episode was water, so they had like a bunch of different water sounds like from Moana and Lilo and Stitch and Lion King and The Little Mermaid. I was trying to think which one that scene was from. And it's just really relaxing and calming, and I really enjoyed watching it. It just made me feel like really at peace. So definitely check it out if you have Disney Plus. It's really, really good. It's called Zenimation again, and I've been really enjoying it. It can be like a trivia game as well if you're in the mood. You can play with somebody and see who can guess the movie first. But yeah, Zenimation, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed watching it. Next up, number 10. This one is, you're going to think I'm weird, but another very calming Disney movie is Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. And I know it's May, but there's something about this movie that gives me all the nostalgic vibes and just makes me so happy because I think I really love Christmas. So I think just tying that in makes me really happy and makes me feel very peaceful. The only part that is a little bit anxiety inducing is the scene where the nephews of Donald Duck are repeating Christmas over and over and over again. That's the only part that is a little stressful, but I think that the rest is just really beautiful and has such a sentimental meaning to it. So I really enjoy watching it. Sometimes when I'm having just like a really bad day, I really love watching this movie because it's one of my favorite Disney movies and one of my favorite Christmas movies. And It's really beautiful. If you haven't seen it yet, it's 3 different stories. The first one, well, I don't know exactly the order, but one of them is about Donald and his nephews. Another one is about Mickey and Minnie, and one of them is about Goofy and his son Max. And they're just really beautiful stories, and I really love the animation and the Christmas stories behind them. And I really think that you guys would too. So if you watch them, let me know. But anyway, guys, that wraps everything up for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed listening to the best Disney movies to calm the mind. I hope that you really liked it. And next week, I'm going to be doing something fun. I'm going to be doing a tag. So if you would like to come back and join, please be sure to subscribe or follow along on our podcast on whichever platform you're listening to this to. I have a new episode every week, so please be sure to come back and join us. And again, if you'd like to leave me a rating and review, I would be happy to shout you out on my next episode. And also, if you'd like to participate in future episodes, my Instagram handle is @themouseclubpodcast, and my name is @Marissa Potts on YouTube and @LittleMissMariss on Instagram. And anyway, guys, I hope that you're having a really wonderful week. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. It is almost June, which I cannot believe. And I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next week with a new episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Mouse Club Podcast. To find us on Instagram, follow us @The Mouse Club Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Mouse Club Podcast, or on our website, themouseclubpodcast.com, to find all of our episodes, links to our social channels, and our YouTube channel, which will be coming soon. To follow our host, Marissa Potts, that's me, check me out on YouTube, Marissa Potts, on TikTok @Marissa.Potts, on Instagram @LittleMissMariss, MRS Mariss. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Bye.